Okay, good morning. Welcome to
FunMath number 136.
FunMath number 136. So we are still in the review section of Art of Problem Solving's Algebra book in Chapter 6. And there's a really cool problem about an election that I wanted you to do for your homework today. But since we hadn't really done a problem like this, I thought I'd walk through one kind of like this, just so you could see it. So hopefully this video will be helpful for you in your homework. A and B are in an election.
Yeah.
After 60% of the votes are counted, A has 56% of the vote and B has 44%. What percent of the remaining votes does B need to get in order for the election to be a tie? Okay? So you have a bunch of votes cast in an election and we've counted 60% of the votes. Okay, what is 60% as a fraction, do you know?
Well, it's 6/10 or 3/5.
3/5. Okay, great.
I think that one is running out of ink.
Yeah, I think this marker's running out of ink, but that's okay for now. 3/5. Okay? A has 56% of the vote, B has 44% of the vote. So let's try to do this using an example. We need a number that's nicely divisible by 100 for percents. We like numbers that are divisible by 100.
Yeah.
And also divisible by 3 and also divisible by 5. So what would you like to pick?
Well, 300 is divisible by 135.
Okay. So there's if 300 is 60% of the vote, what would 100% of the vote be?
It would be
300 is 3/5 of the vote.
500.
Okay, so the total votes are 500. Okay, but we've counted 300 so far, and A has 56% of the vote, and B has 44% of the vote. Okay, so how many votes does A have so far?
Well, A has a little over half the votes.
Yeah, well, I need to know exactly how many. If there's 300 votes counted and A has 56% of those 300 votes, how many votes does A have?
It's 3 times 56.
3 times 56, which is?
Which is 168.
168, very good. How many votes does B have?
It's going to be 3 times 44, which is 132.
132. Okay. Now, if there's 500 votes and we want the election to end up in a tie, how many votes does B need to get?
Well, B needs to get 36. Well, if B gets 36, then it'll be a tie right now.
Well, let's go back. In order for the election to be a tie, in order for the whole election to be a tie, how many votes does B need to get?
B needs to get 36 plus, well, 500 minus 36 divided by 2.
In order for forget about this. In order for the whole election to be a tie, how many votes does B need to get?
250.
Why?
Because that's half of 500.
That's half of 500. How many votes are left to count?
There are 200 votes left to count.
There are 200 votes left to count. So in the next 200 votes, B needs to go from 132 up to 250. Okay? That's what has to happen for the election to be a tie. B has 132 votes right now and needs to get up to 250. So how many votes does B need to get up to 250?
118.
Okay, so B needs 118 out of the next 200 votes for the election to be a tie. It's not that B needs 36 to catch up. In order for it to be a tie, B needs 500 votes, half of 500 votes, so B needs 250 votes. So B needs 132 votes out of the next 200. And what is 118 out of 200 as a percent?
It's 60, it's 58, or 59%.
How did you figure that out?
I just divided the top and bottom by 2.
Divide the top and bottom by 2. This is the same fraction as 59 over 100,
Just multiply by 2.
which is 59%. Okay, and that's the answer to this. And this is why I wanted to go through a problem like this before you did the homework problem, which is very similar. So what do you do to figure this out? Well, you say, if you want to do it by an example, which is, I think, a good way to do problems like this, at least in the beginning when you're learning, okay? We need 3/5 of the vote. Okay, so let's say there's 300 votes and there's counted so far in 500 votes total. Like if it was 4/5 of the vote that was counted, say, for example, then you might pick 400 votes and 500 total, just to make it easy. Okay?
Yeah.
See that? Figure out how many votes they have now, and figure out the person who's trying to get a tie, figure out how many votes they need to get a tie, and then see how much they have to climb up and what percentage is that. So B won 44% of the 300 votes and needs to get 59% of the next 200 to get a tie. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so this should be a good video to help you on that problem if you get stuck. Okay?
Yep.
All right, good job.